In this video, we learn all about Green Stuff World's UV resin, covering what is it and how do you use it. The video is replete with niche 90s references,
crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside, armadillos,
and some pretty cool experiments. I hope you enjoy it, so let's get stuck in.
UV resins are a type of substance known as photosensitive acrylates, which are mixed with photoinitiators, monomers and oligomers to give the correct properties. In this case, a gel-like liquid. From there, you just expose it to UV light, be it from a torch or a laser or the sun, and the liquid will harden and form a protective coating, or in our case, cool water effects and scenery.
So I thought I'd just jump straight in here with some simple drip effects, but I made a mistake straight away by using the UV glue straight above the UV light and then sealing the end of the bottle up. So don't do that. But the actual technique is pretty simple. It's just create a drip on I use a cocktail stick here, and then slowly extend those over the UV light, and literally the UV resin cures so fast that you can just shape it and make it into these little shapes. I actually thought these were a bit thick. Apparently fishing wire is a better way to do this, so I'm definitely going to try that next time. I wanted to use my new drips, so I used the UV resin as a glue and just stuck them onto the end of the leaves of this old orc diorama I made. If you want to see the video for that, it's just above. I'm pretty pleased with the results.
Outside of hobbying, UV resins are used to coat sensitive electronics as adhesives, where their properties for being able to bond, whether they're wet or dry or dusty or whatever, are a real use for things like repairing leaks. And also in modern dentistry, where they're mixed with different coloured cements for making fillings in teeth, for example.
If for some inexplicable reason you're not into dentistry, then you can also use them to make standing water effects on dioramas, like I'm doing here. This is something I made a year or two ago for an old Walkeye box set. All I'm doing is applying the UV resin as like a puddle on the floor. It's self-leveling, so you don't need to worry too much, and I'm pushing it into the corners. At that point, I'll then cure it, but as it's curing, I'm going to put in little ripples where I think it's appropriate. I also tried to make a tiny little splash effect in the foreground, and if you can see that, to find out how to make those, stick around to the next bit of the video. Hopefully it looks pretty cool. I think it does. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below.
Within the hobby, you may also be aware of UV resins for things like 3D printers. And while these will do the same job, they behave slightly differently, principally because they're so much thinner and therefore much more messy to use. But essentially they'll do the same job. But if you do have UV resin knocking around for a 3D printer, you can do lots of the same sort of stuff we're going to do here, just be a bit more careful.
So you can start with inflating a balloon. Any old balloon will do. These are actually water balloons. Sometimes having kids is actually quite useful. Inflate it, blow it up by mouth, however you want to do it. And then once it's inflated, I've taken a model and I've drawn a circle around it because I want to get something around about the same size as a base. Make sure you're wearing gloves when you're using this. Regular exposure to resin on your skin can give you cases of dermatitis, which is quite bad. Once all that's out of the way, you can just liberally apply your resin, covering your entire basing area, and then I just tried to make sort of little, like a star shape or like a splat. I didn't really know what I was doing, I was just having a lot of fun at this point. So literally just making a cool shape, and then something that'll look roughly like an explosion when we're done. Then smooth it all out with a cocktail stick, just enough to give those final details. Then the next step will be to cure it. I wasn't sure actually how long to cure it for. In the end, it only needed about 30 or 40 seconds because it was just a nice thin coat. Now, are you ready? Ready? Oh, well, that was disappointing. Luckily, the end result was quite cool, so that makes up for it. I wonder about making a weird shield thing, but actually I come up with a better idea towards the end of the video, so stay tuned for that.
The big drawback with UV resin, it'll only cure in thin layers, maybe a few millimeters in thickness. If you attempt to use it too much thicker than this, you run the risk of ending up with a gooey middle, so whatever you're casting or creating ends up crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside. Crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside. Armadillos. If you want to deep pour resin or cast larger objects, use a 2-part resin instead. I've got some experience here, as I've made some of my own resin furniture, like this river table, which my children affectionately call my spilt milk table. Aren't children wonderful? Or the latest addition to my office, which is this gorgeous penny desk topper. So there's that then. Now for the fun bit.
Now this is obviously transparent resin, but you can add colour to it. Anything with pigment works. I'm using acrylic ink here, but you can use acrylic paint, or if you have access to them, alcohol inks are really good too. I've literally just mixed something up, and my aim is simply just to make some cool shapes and patterns. I thought I might use them for like a magical effect for my upcoming Angels of Azir army. And actually, it works pretty well. A quick cure because it's nice and thin, and then you've got something like that, which I actually think looks badass.
Honestly, the more I watch videos, the more fun stuff I found, the more inspired I got. I highly recommend checking out Black Magic Crafts' video on casting, Tabletop Times Jazza for his cool water effects, and Krabok, I think that's how you pronounce it, for his amazing experiments, which is where I got the idea for using the balloons. I've linked to all the videos in the description down below, so if you feel like it, go check out those videos if you want some more.
For this last experiment, I wanted to make a latticework force field. This is very much an experiment, and I will certainly neat it up at the end, but you know what, it looks pretty cool. Same techniques as we used before, a quick cure and a proper explosion. But for a first attempt, that looks pretty cool. Certainly some room for improvement, but that's what the second draft's for.
Nice. This has been fun. If you want to watch some more, check out the top right for reviews, and the bottom right for more making stuff. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.